Well, welcome back, or welcome everyone. If it's your first time, welcome to our little, our international, maybe big community of meditators. This is called WeAwake, and we're using tracks from iAwake, which is our endeavor to create audio tracks that help us transform and heal and meditate better and think better and be better and all that stuff. So, and if you're back here again, thank you so much. It's always good to feel your presence. And when we meditate together, it creates a feel something very powerful happens. And so, and using this technology. So, just a little before we start, I was meditating this morning, and well, a couple of things came up in my meditation, and I just got hit with this deep pain and grief. And I think a lot of it is centered around the war in Ukraine. And I have friends, Ukrainians over there, and their country's being destroyed, and just the horror of that. And somehow it's just like, and I was like, oh no, usually I meditate to prepare me to lead meditation. So here I am, feeling devastated. How am I gonna do this? So I came and sat in my seat here, and we just did a deep transformation podcast. Yesterday, Dawson Church was on with us, and he's a best-selling author and wrote Bliss Brain, and really takes science and the great spiritual traditions and puts them together in a very practical and inspiring way. And one of the things he has is it's called EFT, is emotional freedom technique, where you tap, on your thing, whatever, if you're remembering the horrific event or the thing that caused you the pain and stuff, and then tap at different places that would normally that they discovered with acupuncture and this ancient Chinese field of medicine. And before that, we had Robert Augustus Masters on, and another great thinker and teacher and spiritual guide. And one of his main teaching is turn into the pain. In other words, don't avoid the pain. Because if you try to do that, if you try to escape it in meditation, it becomes what he calls spiritual bypassing, whereas you avoid the darkness. So, and you may get to this light, but it's the pain and the suffering goes into another place where it's stuffed into the unconscious. That can cause all kinds of problems, both physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So anyway, given that, I started meditating with the track we're going to use today, which is Forgetting Not to Remember, track 3. It's really good. It's 20 minutes. And I started, just taking all that pain in my heart and started doing the tapping thing and just being with it, as Robert said, not turning away from it, being present with it. And what began to emerge is an idea, a concept, or a vision maybe, that how we can help the suffering that's going over there in the Ukraine. And, once the missiles stop flying, there's going to be so many people that are so hurt and so wounded by the horrific experience. And what can we do with that? Well, the idea that came with iAwake, what we do with that, and with the wisdom and the techniques of Dawson Church and our other friends. And one of my best friends over there is a psychologist also, who's worked with this kind of thing. Maybe we can put together some kind of entity to go in and work with you. Be open for Russians too, because they're going to be all fucked up by this, maybe even more so, because at least the Ukrainians have the idea that, no, it's a righteous war. They're protecting their home and their family and their country, and the Russians are just going to be, just deceived, ill-led, and all that trauma and all that hurt. And I know the suicide rates in Russia are going to go way up, and it's going to be really dark. So what came for me out of my pain was an idea that, maybe do something like this. And I'm talking to Robert Augustus Masters later on today, and we're working with Dawson Church to create something for iAwake. And maybe, with prayer and motivation and the right energy, we can put together something like that. And that feels very, very, very good. So without that, let's do this meditation. And a good thing to do, and, just invite in this meditation any suffering or hurt or pain, both personal or collective or around anything, just allow it to be there. Okay. And the first thing I would suggest is like you tune in, just listen to this track. It's very good. And do a relaxation exercise that I like. Just start at 5. 10 is a little too difficult, but just go 5, relax, and feel your shoulders begin to relax. Everything begin to relax. 4, relax, and feel your jaw muscles start to relax. And Dawson was saying, if you just have your tongue completely limp, just relax at the bottom of your mouth, relax your tongue, and just go down. And then you get to 1, relax. And when you get to 0, it's just total relaxation. And I can go in and get my blood pressure checked, and within 3 or 4 minutes doing this, I can drop at least 20 points. So it really does work. So yeah, and just let any suffering or darkness or other humans or creatures that are suffering, and allow that pain to be in our hearts as we hold it there, and allow it to be held in the sacred space that we're creating individually, and of course with our community here. So bless the darkness. It brings wisdom and compassion if we stay with it and don't turn away from it. And we'll see the light at the end of the tunnel, and remember the light at the beginning of the tunnel too, that it's always there with us, whether we perceive it in the moment or not. So let's do that together. And yeah, I'll ask the Spirit or God to be with us in this process. Do it. Okay. Well, welcome back. I'm not sure how to end a meditation because we didn't go anywhere. And then again, maybe we did. So just it's good to be back here with everyone. And that was just a really beautiful track. And I think Najalin created those. Eric, Leigh Spusta. Okay. Thank you, Heidi. Yeah, I mean, I listen, these guys are all part of this thing, right? We're individuals and yet we're all something together. And really, really beautiful track. Forgetting not to remember. Good stuff. So yeah, I said a bunch of stuff before we started meditating, and I hope that was helpful, or hope that we were able to do that. I didn't go back and feeling all the grief and the pain and the hurt. It was very peaceful, very beautiful for me. And I thank you for that too, because you're definitely a part of that. And, and meditations are a lot of things. And we were talking about this with Dawson Church yesterday. It's a time for stilling the mind. It's a time for cultivating the mind, the deeper wisdom self. It's a time for learning, talking to the sage within, if you will, your inner guide. And it's a time to hold up your hearts and hold up your wounds and your stuff, and into the spirit's loving presence to be healed, where it can be lose its power to control us in negative ways, but can lead us to wisdom and compassion for ourselves and for others. So, and yeah, I've been learning a lot lately, but when I was praying and meditating, as I've said before, meditation is kind of a preparation for prayer for me. There's these different levels of things that can go on, and they're all good. It doesn't have to be non-dual, and it can be all of this stuff is part of the journey. And I asked questions like, why? Why is there evil? And if you don't know what I mean by that word, well, anyway, hang out with it. You'll figure it out. And the answer came back really clearly, is to help us awaken. And I know that can sound like facile or a cliche, but I don't think it is. And then with Christopher Bates and some of the conversations we've been having on deep transformation, it's kind of stuff that I've known. And a lot of times when you wake up or you have awakening experiences or enlightenment, which never ends, by the way, it's not just think, it's done, you can just hang out now. It doesn't seem to be like that at all. It just never seems to end. It just keeps going. And sweet, my dog. Where was I? It's what gets us to the game. Most of us started meditating. A lot of us, of course, I worked with alcoholics and addicts for years. It was a suffering, that got us to the point where we're willing to ask for help or to go inside and to do the work. But I had this other kind of vision, if you will, this insight when I was kind of building on the other thing. And I saw these entities, like they're individuals, right? And people that I knew. Apparently, I recognized them as that. And they were in this kind of this blue light sun. And it was really, really, really beautiful and really good. And they were all kind of thinking, what they were thinking is, what do I have to work on this time? It's like they were going back to be incarnated. What do I need to work on this time? Like, wow, that's something. And I'm becoming more and more kind of understanding or feeling or intuiting or learning or knowing that. And in fact, the big kind of enlightenment experience I had before we started WeAwake, the big opening, or however you want to word that, was that it was non-dual. Absolutely. There was only God and everything was God. However, my little individual John self was also real, and it wasn't phony. It was a real thing that the universe was creating, and that was really precious. And not just me, but everyone. And that the individuality is just as important as the non-duality. And it's all the same thing, some kind of continuum, but very important. And it seems that through these enlightenment or these experiences, the suffering that we go through, it's a continual process of purification, and the self, the individual, that which experiences, that which is aware, doesn't go away. It just gets better, if you will. And the universe is really geared or designed to create this. And so this is really important stuff that's happening here. So question is, and to be incarnated, to be in this material realm, spiritual material realm, whatever it is, this vibration frequency is absolutely necessary. And you can't just go and float in the light. There's something about here is where the work is done, and where the polishing, the grinding, purification, whatever that process is, happens. And so I would challenge us to not wait until we're, not incarnated in this form, but right now it's like, what do I need to be working on while I'm here? What am I here to do? And, hang out with that question in your practice, in your meditation, or when you're watching the sunset or something like that. Just be still and be with it. And I think it'll become very clear. What you're, it'll become clear anyway. Oh, okay. Yeah, of course. All right. God help me. And, we carry on from there, and we get a little closer, a little better, a little clearer, and a little more useful to ourselves and all the other beings that need us, like my dog and all the other critters. So there it is. And so don't be afraid of the hurt and the pain, because that's a gift. That is a teaching from God, if you will. And when we're present with it and it shows up in our practice or otherwise, just turn into it and say, okay, welcome, teacher. And what am I here to learn? And also you can do some of this stuff that I'm learning from Dawson Church and others, of how to take this and transmute this kind of base, lead, deep suffering into the pure gold of spiritual wisdom, goodness, love. Other words too, however you want to say that. So that's a bunch for today. So anyway, God bless you. Thank you. And let's pray for the people that are suffering in those wars right now. And I know there's other wars going on, but the ones in my mind, because of my connections with it, how we can help, how we can be of service, how we can thank God that our homes aren't getting blown up, and our people aren't being raped and murdered and all the stuff that's going on over there, but how we can be an instrument of peace, right? As Francis said in the famous prayer, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace, so that it can flow through us and we can be there. And when we start doing that, the despair will transform into hope and courage and direction and wisdom, if you will. So anyway, God bless you guys. Thank you. And I'll see you here next time. Hopefully be with you there anyway, whether you're here or not. So anyway, thank you for being here.